This is unreal. And you know what? I can't believe this stuff comes out of the government's mouth.
People are using homes and houses as an investment vehicle rather than families using them as a place to live, to grow their lives, to build equity for their future. Housings can and should be owned by people who are living in them. And who want to build a strong future rather than corporations looking to improve their bottom lines.
Wow. How do you feel about him? This is a true statement. He just targeted everybody in this room by that statement. Okay? That's a fact. He doesn't believe that real estate investors should own it. That it should all be left to people that are going to live there. But not everybody wants to own, right? Not everybody wants to own. Like, there are people that want to be a little bit more transient. They don't want to put all their money into a house. You know that, right? Like, when we talk about 40% of Canadians being tenants, do you know that at least 50% of those, they just don't want to own? You know, they could be transient. What about the youth today? Like, a lot of people, they just, hey, look, I'd rather be able to like close my condo door. I want to rent it. I don't want to have to worry about repairs. I don't want to have to worry about anything. If I have $50,000, I'm going to put it in Apple stock, okay, or Bitcoin. But they don't want to own. So his assumption is that you and I, and even corporations, and this is where, if we don't have the corporations, the big landlords that own the really big buildings, can you imagine what would happen? So take some of the biggest landlords in Canada. They manage through REITs and different financial institutions 50,000 doors, okay? They have to make a profit. I mean, the government clearly does. They have to make a profit so they can continue to move forward. And yet, we look at them and say, oh, greedy. Are you kidding? The actual government is sitting there saying, you should not be a real estate investor. Where are the tenants going to live? So how many people here, let's work with this. How many people actually own like a townhouse, a semi-detached or a detached house as an investment property? Okay. Now, how many, do you have families living in them? Would it be a family? Kids, right? Husband, wife, maybe kids? Is that pretty much the general demographic? Without you, there'd be families that don't have a place to live. Because with the vacancy rates that we have, if you didn't own it, let's say, yeah, sure, another person bought it to live in it, as his scenario. But what about the people that can only rent? Where would they live? So without all of you, we'd have a real housing problem. We'd have a crisis next to none without real estate investors. This is the thing. You'll find I'm very passionate about this aspect of it, because to me, when I have to sit there and people say, what's a real estate investor? Man, don't do this at a family reunion, okay? This isn't going to go well, okay? Because here's the thing. The real estate investor, the government's view of it, preventing people from living in housing that they own. Okay, well, hello, not going to happen. Now, the public. Have you ever noticed, I mean, like, we see all sorts of stuff from social media, right? And people sit there and they will come flat out and say, you're greedy. You own a few investment properties, you're creating the problem. You're the problem. By the way, you're all the problem, just so you know. Okay, we're all the problem children in this room, just so we're clear. Okay? But this is what the general perception. If you don't own investment real estate, this is what some of the people think of you. You're greedy, you're driving nice cars, living in big houses, and you're charging large rents. How much did your mortgage payment go up in the last 2 years? No, but seriously, here's the problem. What people aren't aware of, and this is what I find astounding, and I try very hard on our show to make it very clear, is do you know that the majority of you don't have positive cash flow? The majority of you are just breaking even at best. And the fact that you're doing this long term is the smartest thing, because we work with the equation, right, which I'm going to show you. But the truth is, there's nobody here driving a really nice car out there because you've got an investment property. And this is the perception in the public. You know, it's like, hey, you're a real estate investor, right? Not even close. You take the risk, you could potentially lose a lot of money for non-payment of rent, We know what the LTB does to people nowadays, and I'm sure some of you, if you've ever had to go to the LTB, it leaves a very bad taste in your mouth. I can tell you that we've had cases that'll take 8 months to a year of non-payment of rent before I can get them out. Can you imagine not collecting rent for a year? What that does to your bottom line? And then, of course, my version of this is creating generational wealth, a long-term investment, trying to provide home for people. Is that what you all feel about yourselves? Everybody agree? Yeah, thank you.